are 5 days into the new year, and already there are several new laws in place, from more transparency around AI hiring practices to new employment leave given to those experiencing pregnancy loss. Those new laws could impact your day-to-day life. So for a closer look at what has changed, I'm joined this morning by Jacqueline King, employment lawyer and partner at Levitt LLP. Jackie, good morning. Happy New Year.
Good morning. Happy New Year to you.
So I find this very fascinating. I think a lot of people don't keep track of it, but you do, which is why we have you here. Employers in Ontario, we know, must now disclose whether they use AI to screen job applicants.
Right.
Why will disclosure make a difference for people applying for new jobs?
So we know there's already inherent bias in anyone who's meeting someone, but AI bias is a different thing. So people need to understand whether AI is being used. Now, the benefit for employers is that it helps narrow down a large volume. So if you want to put in keywords that you're looking for a certain type of experience, and that helps. Now you can't do that unless you disclose it. So you can still do that, you just have to disclose so that employees are aware that that's happening, that they're being assessed by AI.
Okay. Again, in Ontario, employees are now required to post a salary range in their online job posts. I think this is great. How will more transparency around pay help to level the playing field for job seekers, in particular, a successful applicant?
Yeah, so that's a big thing, because a lot of time there is a different pay for the person in front of you. So you think, well, I have to pay this person this much, but I might not have to pay this person.
And so a lot of that can be based on gender, age.
Absolutely, and it's unfair. So what they're doing now is, at least you know when you apply for a job, it's not, well, what are you looking for? And then you play that game.
Yeah.
You know what the salary range is. Now, it doesn't apply if you don't have 25 employees or if you have a salary range that's over 200,000. But anything under 200,000, you have to put the range in, up to 50,000 discrepancy. So if you're 75 to 125, you have to put in for the job you're looking for that the range is from here to here. That way you know when you're applying for a job, this is what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And then based on qualifications, it can go up, but it doesn't go down based on, well, I think this person might not need this much money.
Right.
For a number of reasons that we probably won't get into here, but it's unfair, and it's a great step that this is finally changing.
Yeah, I think this is excellent. Listen, what kind of enforcement will be in place to make sure that employers actually maintain these requirements?
Right.
Who's watching?
The Employment Standards Act is very clear that there's officers that either can do spot checks or there can be complaints.
So
and
reporting.
Often, right, reporting. And so if someone complains and they do an investigation, there's no fines set yet for this, but the fines can be very high, which you'll hear when we talk about the pregnancy leave and bereavement leave.
Okay, well, let's go there. That is a big change.
Huge.
How long has that been lobbied for, and how will it work?
So it's been lobbied for years. And now, finally, if you have the loss of a child, either yourself or your partner, your spouse, or if you were having a child by surrogacy, so a child that was going to be legally yours and there's been a loss, you can have 3 days, if you've worked for 3 months, 3 days paid leave up to 8 weeks. And the employers must keep records of this.
Okay.
Failure to do so can result in fines up to $100,000 for employers that are corporations, or individuals it's less, but big fines for failing to do this, so you must keep records.
Let's talk about another big change, and that is around taxes. The income tax bracket is changing. It's primarily geared towards Canadians who are in a lower tax bracket. For those who make up $58,000 a year, they're now going to pay 14%. The Prime Minister calls this the middle-class tax cut. So how much of a payoff will Canadians really see?
So 1%, so for the part of the year last year, it was 0.5% because it's only part of the year.
Okay.
So starting this year, it's 1%. That 1% on the first 58,000 is about $500-ish.
Okay.
So, you know, I don't know about you, but before COVID, if you'd order takeout, you'd sort of know what the bill is, you'd get it. Afterwards, I would sort of go, can I go over that again? Did I order 2 of something?
Yeah.
So certainly the increase after COVID at a restaurant or anything else you're buying is more than, I think, this 1%. So it's a good start is what I would call it, but it's a start.
It's a start, but it has some room to grow.
Well, it's $500 a year, and who doesn't want $500 back a year?
Yeah.
Yes, but again, it's $500 over a year.
Right.
So it is a help, but it's not a huge one at this stage.
Not a huge one. Tell me your feelings on these changes. You know, some of them, like we talked about, around loss or adoption, have been lobbied for a number of years. Do you see these changes finally come into play? What does that tell you?
So it's an acknowledgement that people need time, and they need time to breathe, and so employers need to give that time. And as I said, the penalties will be stiff and hard for employers that do not allow this time, or if you face reprisal for having taken the time. So you have an obligation, the employer has an obligation to put you back in your original job. Your benefits continue during the period of leave, and if they don't, there will be very stiff penalties. And I think the employment standards officers will be enforcing this one.
New year, new rules. Jackie King, employment lawyer and partner at Levitt LLP. Great to have you here.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.